Right, grade 10, this is the topic for starting Monday, the 6th of July. It is factorization, and today we're going to do the highest common factor. It starts on page 100 in your textbooks. Okay, before we start with factorization, I just want to give you some background, which is, I think, really important for you to understand. We already done this where they say you must remove the bracket or you must multiply out the bracket. Okay, and the way we do it is we take the factor outside the bracket, which is this whole thing, and we multiply it by each term inside the bracket. Okay, so the rule is take the factor outside the bracket, multiply by the first term, okay, and then take the factor outside the bracket and multiply by the second term. So if we now do that, then we have 2 times 8 is 16. Because there is no a and b, this remains a squared b. Okay, so this is the first term done. Then the second term is 8 times negative 3 people, which is minus 24. Then a squared times a squared. We add the index because it's multiplication. Then b times b. Remember, each of them has a 1. So add the index. 1 plus 1 means b to the power of 2. There's no c there. There's a c there. So that is the c. Okay. Now what I want you to understand before we go on to factorization. If you look at your answer here, people, you've got 2 terms. Okay, remember, terms are separated by plus and minus. So that's the first term and that's the second term. However, when you look at what we had, where we start off with, then because there is a multiplication here and there is a bracket there, this whole thing is only one term. Okay, the bracket makes those two one term. And because this is a multiplication, this is still the very same term. So the whole thing is one term. Now, if we look at factorization, and we're going to do three different factorization methods, then it is really the opposite of what we have done here. Okay? For multiplying out or removing brackets, you go from one term to 2 terms. Okay. And for factorization, you go from 2 or 3 or 4 terms. It can be any number of terms. Okay. You go back to 1 term. So when we now look at the first example, okay, the highest common factor, we must take out the highest common factor. Then remember our pattern for our answer must be the highest common factor. Okay. And then you have here the remainder of term 1, plus or minus, whatever is given there. And then the remainder of term 2. And obviously, if you had another term, then it would go on inside the bracket, the remainder of term 3. So this is important for you to remember, okay, for any factorization, is that we're going from 2 terms, 3 terms, 4 terms, all the way back to 1 term, okay? And in most cases, or in all cases, we've got brackets involved. Here, we've got a highest common factor outside the bracket, and then inside the bracket, we've got the remainder of the terms. Okay, so first you must choose the highest common factor. And please, people, do it step by step. There is 2 numbers there. Okay, what is the highest common factor between 16 and 24? Now, I'm going to show you on the new calculators a very easy method. Okay, I hope you can see that. So our number is 16. So enter 16 into your calculator, then press equals. Okay, then you press your shift key, and then you press this one which says fact. Do you see that? It's factors, right? And that gives you 2 to the power of 4. So 16 is 2 to the power of 4. Then you do the same with the second number. The second number is 24. Okay, so put 24 in, press equals, then press shift, then press fact. Okay, and that gives you 2 to the power of 3 times 3. Okay, so this is now the factorization, okay, of the two numbers. Now to choose the highest common factor, you must choose the ones that have the same base. Okay, there's no 3 there, so 3 cannot be a highest common factor. There's a 2 base here and a 2 base there, so that can be a highest common factor. And the highest common factor always contains the lowest index. Okay, I do the movement with my arm. I show upwards when I say highest common factor, okay, and then I show downwards has the lowest index, right? I wish I could actually teach you that in class, people. It's a bit difficult now with the video, okay? So just remember, you must choose the ones with the same base and then the one with the lowest index. So my highest common factor is 2 to the power of 3, and if you press that into your calculator, you will see that it is 8. So I'm going to write 8 here. Okay. Then the same counts for the bases. There is an A and there is an A. Okay. So again, the highest common factor is the base with the lowest index. Okay, highest common factor, show upwards, and then is the lowest index, show downwards. Right, meaning if we look at a squared and a to the power of 4, then a squared, the 2 is the lowest index, so a squared is the highest common factor. Okay, then we got a b here and a b squared there. So again, people, this is b to the power of 1. Okay, this is b to the power of 2. The lowest is the 1, so the highest common factor has the lowest index. Okay, and then if you look at this one, there is no c there and there is a c there. So people, it's no more common. It is not appearing in both terms, so it is not common anymore. So c cannot be a highest common factor. So now you have chosen the highest common factor, then open your bracket. Okay, now we must find the remainder for term 1. And how you do that is you now divide term 1 by the highest common factor. Again, do that step by step. 16 divided by 8 is 2. Okay, then a squared divided by a squared is 1. Right? Then we have b to the power of 1 divided by b to the power of 1 is also 1. So we don't write those. It would actually be times 1 times 1. Okay, and 2 times 1 times 1 is 2. That's why we don't need those. So I'm going to erase that. Right, that's the remainder for term 1. Now comes the second one. There is a negative there, so minus. Now you divide the second term by the highest common factor. Okay, and do it step by step again. It's 24 divided by 8. Okay, which is 3, right? Or you could have said negative 24 divided by 8 is negative 3, so it makes no difference. Then you have a to the power of 4 divided by a to the power of 2. Remember, when we divide with the same base, we subtract the index. So this is then a to the power of 4 minus 2, which gives me a remainder of a to the power of 2. Okay. Then we have b to the power of 2 divided by b to the power of 1, which is b to the power of 2 minus 1, which gives me b, or b to the power of 1, doesn't matter. Then c, there is no c here, people, so it's not divided, meaning it remains. So that is c. Okay. Now you're done with your factorization. Now the nice thing is, people, with factorization, you can always check your answer by now multiplying out as we did it here. So you can quickly do 8 times 2 is 16. Okay. Then we have a squared times nothing is a squared. B, there's no b there, so that is b. All right. Then you've got 8 times negative 3, which is negative 24. Then a squared times a squared. When we multiply powers with the same base, we add the index. So it's 2 plus 2 is 8 to the power of 4. Then b times b, add the index, which gives me 1 plus 1 is 2. Then there's c, there's no c there, is c. So if you now compare this one to that one, then you know you are correct. Okay, this is the highest common factor, people. I can just say something really, really important. Factorisation you will use for all mathematics coming in grade 10 as well as in grade 11. So for the next week, it is really so important that you ensure that you can do factorisation. We are starting with the highest common factor, which is now only for Monday. Okay? So please, people, let me know if you don't understand that.